Hey everyone, it's been a long time since I've done one of these videos, so let's see if I can remember how to do it. I've been called out by both Peter and Josh about doing the Tasting Niche frequently asked beer questions. So I figured if Lee's going to do a video, if Stelz is going to do a video, I'll do one. So here we are. First question is, how did you get into beer geeking? Why beer? At the time, I was really getting into Scotch whiskey, and that was getting really expensive. So beer was a cheaper option. So I guess that would be my answer for that one. What's your favorite beer? That's a tough one for everyone. My go-to over the years has been generally Parabola. I haven't had this year's Parabola yet, but it was brewed and barreled in Boulevard in Kansas City while Firestone Walker was upgrading their brewing system. So I've heard reports that it's not as good as prior years, but generally speaking, the 2012 vintage wasn't that great, but most of them since and before 2012 have been great. Uh, so yeah, I guess Parabola. If you had one beer forever, what would it be? The old desert island question. For me, it's going to be either Orval or Cantillon Classic Goose, just because those beers change with time a lot. Fresh compared to aged. A lot of difference in those beers. So a lot of people don't realize how hoppy Cantillon Classic Goose is. Actually, I find a lot of hop character in it these days. Especially when I drink a lot of sours like this one. This is a collaboration I did with my buddy Peter at Belching Beaver. We did 10 wine barrels that were previously held red wine, and got the collaboration part of it was bringing in our different yeast and bacteria together to pitch into these barrels, and then it developed a really gnarly PDO strain in there. So got the Milk the Funk t-shirt going. Shout out to those guys. And aged it a lot longer, and then just developed a really nice stone fruit character, which then we got a bunch of phenomenal peaches and nectarines that went in the barrel, and this thing turned out phenomenal. I got a keg of it, bottled up about 2/3 of the keg, and then I have some left over for draft. So that's what I'm drinking on right now. How can you drink so much? How do you stay healthy? Well, that's part of the reason why I don't do this vlog anymore is, I'm working out 3 or 4 times a week. I tend not to drink at least one day, if not 2 days a week. I have no alcohol. And then Sundays are hockey. I started playing hockey, I think it's been about a year and a half now. Yeah, a year and a half. So Sundays are pretty much hockey. It's year-round sport for us, for beer league hockey here in San Diego. So playing a lot of hockey, and then I go to the gym the other 2 or 3 times a week. Number 5, are you alcoholic? Don't know the exact definition of that, but I like to think I'm not, because like I said, I do take off days where I don't drink any alcohol. During the week, I've tried to cut back to 1 or 2 beers on the nights that I do have, that I'm not, working out, and cut back. The weekends, it's just whatever happens, happens. Some weekends are heavier than others. I don't go to as many bottle shares anymore, so I'd like to think I drink a little less than I used to, because bottle shares tend to add up. What's your favorite ingredient? I'm going to do a few things with this. I'm going to do a homebrewer version for everyone. Favorite ingredients: yeast and bacteria, because these sour beers have a whole range of flavors. And yeah, that's, the other ingredients, you can definitely change your flavor profile, but yeast can overcome hop character. It can cut through all kinds of things. And then heck, if you're a New England IPA fan these days, I mean, that's hugely yeast driven. Sure, you're using some of the modern hops, but I mean, a lot of those flavors in mouthfeel come from the yeast. Yes, I know there's other factors, but yeast is a huge part. And of course, bacteria, get some tartness in there. Favorite grain to use for me, I love using Gold Naked Oats. It's a malted oat. Love it in all my beers, really. I couldn't think of beer not to put it in. And I love rye malt. I'm a sucker for rye beers. So on the malt side, I'll go with that. Uh, what's the next question? Do you brew? Yes, as I mentioned, I brew. Been brewing since 2009. I've won a lot of awards over the years, so doing well in competitions. This coming weekend, or this weekend, I should say, the filming, they're judging first round nationals in Denver, where I put my entries, which I shipped off long ago, so I'm finally getting judged. What was your first beer? I have no idea. I don't remember. You know, it's probably some crappy lager that my dad had around, but he was more of a wine guy, so probably had wine before beer. I can't even remember. Who in the beer world do you look up to? Anyone that's homebrewed and gone pro and been a really good pro brewer. And thankfully, I've known a lot of them here in San Diego. Um, I guess the big guys, well, most recently, my collaborator for, let's see, best way to do this, R&R Coconut IPA, Robert. He's a brewer down at Resident Brewing downtown San Diego, and he's killing it down there. So it's really cool to see that. Kelsey McNair, who's dominated IPA and nationals. You know, he's beat pro brewers in the IPA game, so he's done really well at North Park Beer Co. You got Paul Singster, won the Nicosia Award as a home brewer and started Rip Current. That's who we did the collaboration with for R&R. And just generally any home brewer that's gone on to go pro that's killing it. That's who I look up to, because they're the ones that are keeping around a lot of styles that are not popular. Like, you can go to Rip Current and have their award-winning Bock. I mean, a lot of breweries aren't making Bocks. You know, they're keeping a lot of these styles alive. A lot of these breweries, they're just searching for, you know, the next buck. You know, making everything hazy or whatever. They're not keeping alive a lot of these styles. They're just going away that a lot of us really appreciate as a home brewer. And, you know, we have to make them at home, of course, because it's hard to go find commercial examples. So that's part of why we brew. But yeah, anyone that's home brewed and gone pro and done really well, congrats to you guys. So that's all 9 questions. That's it for now. Don't know when there will be a next blog, but until next time, cheers.